Hey guys, it's me again, and today I'm bringing you another controversial list, the top 11 RMCs. Rocky Mountain Construction, or RMC for short, is a very young roller coaster manufacturer. However, they have made quite a name for themselves in recent years by building some of the best coasters in the world. Every single coaster RMC has put out is great, so there's bound to be disagreement when a list like this is made. But this is just my opinion, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so at number 11, we have Goliath. This coaster is by no means bad, but it does have some noticeable cons that bring it to the bottom. But first, let's get to the pros. First off, the drop looks amazing. It's really tall and really steep. What's not to love? And second of all, the inversions look amazing too. They're probably the best inversions of any RMC out there. They're so unique and probably give amazing airtime. But that's really where the pros end. Now to the cons. This ride is really short. Many RMCs are on the shorter side, but this one is just too short. It's literally a drop, a turn, an airtime hill, 2 inversions, a turn, and up into the brakes. And second of all, there's hardly any airtime. There's only one real airtime hill, and I suppose you might get airtime going up into the brakes. That's about it for airtime, other than maybe the drop. Also, this ride just feels like a clone. It's obviously the only one of its kind thus far, but it just feels like Six Flags made it in hopes of cloning it in the future. Coming in at 10, we have Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom in Vallejo, California. This coaster is new for 2016, and it opened with high expectations. While it is better than probably 80% of coasters out there, it does pale in comparison to other RMCs. First off, the drop is just decent at best. It curves out at the bottom, which isn't always a good thing unless if it's done right. And from what I've heard, the drop doesn't compare well to the drops of other RMCs. The inversions on this do seem great. The step-up underflip is really unique, and I'm sure the stall is fantastic as well. This ride also has some pretty good airtime moments. However, it just doesn't have that much airtime. From what I've heard, the banks that are supposed to give good lateral airtime really don't, and they just are pointless banks. They aren't even intense. So without enough airtime, this ride just doesn't live up to the hype that it had. At number 9, we have Outlaw Run. This is the second RMC to ever open, only behind New Texas Giant. This coaster does have some great things going for it. The drop looks fantastic, and the ending double barrel roll looks phenomenal. However, what happens in between is what is slightly disappointing. The outward banking stall seems really cool, but it sort of pales in comparison to the newer inversions on newer RMCs. Also, this ride just doesn't have as much airtime as newer RMCs. It has some good moments, but not enough. So that's what really just brings it down to this spot. At number 8, we have New Texas Giant at Six Flags Over Texas. This coaster has a fantastic drop and an ample amount of ejector and lateral airtime. However, it just lacks the inversions and crazy elements that later RMCs have. At number 7, we have Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom in Louisville, Kentucky. This is another new for 2016 RMC, and it is one of 2 RMCs to have an inverting drop, which is really unique. This coaster has 2 other unique inversions, which is a plus. But what this coaster excels at is airtime. It has back-to-back hills of strong ejector airtime. However, this coaster's pace just doesn't compete well with other RMCs, which puts it at this spot. At number 6, we have Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England in Agawam, Massachusetts. This is the only RMC I've personally ridden, and I used to think it was the best RMC hybrid out there, but I've come to the conclusion that that's not true. This coaster does have a fantastic drop and ample amounts of ejector airtime, as well as some good inversions. However, it just isn't statistically impressive and it doesn't have any standout elements that bring it to the top. Coming in at number 5, we have Twisted Colossus, a Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California. The coolest thing about this hybrid is the fact that it's dueling. While it doesn't duel regularly, when it does, it's a really cool experience. The 2 drops are amazing, and it has an ample amount of ejector airtime. There's also a high 5 element, and the inversions are really cool, especially when it duels. It's a very long ride, and it's basically like riding 2 RMCs back to back. You can't get much better than that. And number 4, we have Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas in San Antonio, Texas. This coaster is absolutely amazing. It has one of the best drops of any RMC out there, and it has probably one of the best inversions on the planet, a Heavenly Zero G roll. While this coaster doesn't have as much ejector airtime as some others, the few moments that it does have make up for it, and then some. This coaster also interacts often with the quarry wall, which Six Flags Fiesta Texas is famous for. It has a slow, low-to-the-ground section up on top of the quarry wall. It dives off the quarry wall and even goes through a tunnel inside the quarry wall. Such a unique and phenomenal coaster deserves this spot on this list. In number 3, we have Medusa Steel Coaster, Six Flags Mexico in Mexico City, Mexico. This coaster is absolutely phenomenal. It has an inverting drop, which gives great hang time. It has probably the best intensity of any RMC out there, besides maybe Lightning Rod. It has a fantastic pace, great inversions, and an ample amount of airtime. There's simply nothing wrong with this coaster. At number 2, we have Lightning Rod at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This coaster is simply incredible. It's the first launched wooden coaster in the world, which is amazing enough. But it's also the fastest wooden coaster in the world and has some of the strongest ejector airtime on the planet. The quadruple down alone is revolutionary. It's also probably one of the most intense RMCs out there, and it has an amazing pace. If I had to come up with a con, it would be that it ends too quickly. And finally, coming in at number 1, we have Wildfire at Kolmarden in Sweden. This coaster is absolutely amazing. It has everything that makes an RMC great. It has the gigantic drop that's really steep, fantastic inversions, ample amounts of ejector airtime. It uses the terrain really well and to its advantage. It's extremely intense, it has an amazing pace, and it's also really long for an RMC, which is great. There's just simply nothing wrong with this coaster, and it's the most well-rounded RMC out there. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I would love it if you could like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye!